It's a scary thought to think somebody might be out there watching my YouTube channel. Action here. All right, today's date is November 22nd, 2021. In Hardeman County, Texas, I call cause number 10696 in the interest of the Tyler and Bryant children or child. What says the state?
Ready, Your Honor.
Present is Teddy Nicole Bryant, and she's represented by her attorney, Mr. Griffin. Are you ready to proceed, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also present is Dale Raby, whose client is Stephen Ray Tyler. However, Mr. Tyler has not made an appearance. This hearing was set for 2 o'clock. And tell me, Mr. Raby, has Mr. Tyler been noticed?
Yes, Your Honor. I contacted Mr. Tyler shortly after our last hearing when we had discussed possible resolution, possible ways to resolve this matter. I did make contact with him at that time, had discussions with him, told him I would let him know when the next court date was. Since that time, I have attempted to call him multiple times, at least 3, and left messages. My secretary also called him, I believe at least 3 times, and left messages and had no return response from Mr. Tyler. I filed a motion to withdraw as counsel on
Let's see.
It was on November 23rd, Your Honor. Yes, November 23rd. I sent it to Mr. Tyler, certified mail, return receipt requested. I've not received the return receipt back, but I do have the certified mail receipt from the post office. I've not heard from him. Those messages that I left on his cell phone indicated that we did have court and that he needed to contact me immediately and when the court was, and he has not contacted me. Based on the inability to communicate with my client, Your Honor, I have filed that motion to withdraw.
All right.
Oh, also, Your Honor, for the record, on my motion for withdrawal of counsel, I also attached as Exhibit A the notice of this hearing and the Zoom link information for this hearing.
So if he'd received that, he would have been able to contact us directly.
Yes, Your Honor.
To participate in the Zoom hearing. All right. Is there any objection to the motion?
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Raby, I'm granting your motion to withdraw.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will bring you an order over here in just a minute.
All right, thank you. You can email it or fax it and or hand deliver it, whichever is more comfortable.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Raby.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Earl. Thank you, Ms. Coons.
Yes, sir. Take care. Yeah.
Bye.
All right, I think, well, I heard a phone ring, but I don't think it's mine. My assistant is not here today. So if something rings, I may have to step out and answer it or try to ignore it. All right, how do you wish to proceed, Mr. Griffin?
Your Honor, Ms. Coons and I have talked. I think we can propose a proposed final order to the court on this matter. This was a SAPSER that I had originally filed. The AG has filed a counter petition. Basically, we're going to enter a final order herein incorporating the terms of the temporary order signed by Judge Byrd on April 29th, 2011 as to conservatorship, the restricted visitation that was put in after hearing in those terms and the injunction. And then the child support that's set forth therein was $272 a month. We're going to continue that amount. Ms. Coons is going to put in a judgment for the arrearage, which is shown by their records at this time as being $16,802.99. And I think she would address the court as to the judgment on that amount and how that would be paid or paid in addition to the child support. We do have a supplemental temporary order that deals with the medical insurance. Is that right, Whitney?
That's correct.
And she's gonna send me a copy of that. I think I'm gonna try to compile everything into the final order. I'll of course copy her with it. And Dale
Right.
has the policy.
You want some testimony briefly?
Yes, Judge, I can go very briefly. I'd ask the court, if I may, to take judicial notice of the temporary orders and suit affecting the parent-child relationship in this matter, which were signed April 29, 2011 by Judge Dan Mike Bird.
All right. I take judicial notice of the contents of the court's file, specifically including the temporary orders signed by Judge Bird.
Would you want to swear in Teddy?
All right. Ms. Bryant, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. All right, Mr. Griffin.
State your name, please.
Teddy Nicole Bryant.
And you are the mother of Ransom
Hezekiah Tyler.
Tyler. Okay. I ought to get that Hezekiah right out of the Bible, shouldn't I? And the father is Stephen Ray Tyler of this child, is that correct?
Yes.
And Hezekiah was born July 1, 2009.
Yes, sir.
He's resided with you continuously since his birth.
Yes, sir.
He still resides with you.
Yes, sir.
We had a temporary order that the court has taken judicial notice of that was entered by the district judge in this matter, and it placed certain restrictions on Stephen Tyler's access to the child. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And those restrictions are set forth in detail in that temporary order.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember those restrictions, that any visitation he's had was to be supervised by certain people, being his parents and some others named therein?
Yes, sir.
And do you feel it's necessary for the child's best interest to continue that supervised order?
Yes, sir.
And are you asking the court to continue that supervised visitation schedule as set forth in that temporary order?
Yes, sir, I am.
The temporary order appointed you and Stephen Ray Tyler as joint managing conservators, but it appointed you as the primary, that you had the right to establish the child's domicile and the primary rights of the child in this matter. You understand that?
Yes, sir, I am.
And you understand that it will be your duty, you have the exclusive right to designate where Hezekiah lives without regard to geographic restriction.
Yes, sir.
You believe that's in Hezekiah's best interest?
Yes, sir, I do.
You presently reside here in Childers, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We're asking that the court allow us not to put all the information that's normally put in a decree, because at the time of this, there was some domestic violence
Yes,
between you and Stephen Tyler. Has Mr. Tyler initiated any contact with the child since that period of time?
No, the last time he actually saw the child, I believe, was in 2015, maybe 2016 at the latest. And he failed to show up the first 3 times. And I finally called him and said, look, Ransom wants to see you. You need to show up. So he showed up, brought his girlfriend and her kids, and spent about 20, 30 minutes with him and called me to come get him.
And at this time, you're asking the court to allow you not to have to disclose all that information under the family code that normally goes in.
Yes, sir.
You feel that's in your best interest?
I feel that's in both mine and Ransom's best interest.
You agreed to pay me attorney's fees, reasonable attorney's fees when we
Yes, sir.
filed this, and we filed that in our petition. At the temporary, Judge Bird took that matter to be handled at the time. Is that correct? You're asking this court to award you the reasonable necessary attorney's fees and costs.
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Coons, witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Bryant, you understand there were also some supplemental temporary orders entered in May of 2018. Is that correct?
Is that the medical support?
Yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And in those orders, there's a finding that no one had access to private health insurance at a reasonable cost. So you are ordered to apply for a government health plan for your child on the case. Have there been any changes since then in the availability of affordable health insurance?
Right now, my ex-husband still carries insurance on him,
Okay.
and he has carried insurance on him off and on the entire time.
That is not Stephen Tyler.
No, it is not Steven Tyler.
Okay.
And-
You indicate this is your ex-husband and you have no control over that being provided in the future, is that correct?
As long as my ex-husband said that he would continue to provide insurance as long as he could and was able to. But with us having a divorce and everything.
Outside of anything available through your ex-husband, is there anything that you can provide in the way of private health insurance for your child?
No.
Okay. Do you understand that if the court were to order you to provide some private health insurance and say it at some point your ex-husband stopped providing that, you might be 100% responsible for the out-of-pocket medical for your child?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you ask, in light of that and with the insurance not being something in your control, that the court just order you to go ahead and apply for a government health plan?
Yes, ma'am.
And the prior supplemental order ordered him to Mr. Tyler to pay $50 per month to help reimburse the state for the cost of that program. Do you have any objection to those orders continuing for Mr. Tyler to pay $50 per month medical support?
No, ma'am.
And have you received any direct payments from Mr. Tyler that wouldn't be reflected in the payment record for the case?
No, ma'am. I have not.
Your Honor, I ask that the payment record be placed in evidence as State's Exhibit 1.
No
Right.
objection.
Admitted as states number 1.
Based on that payment record, we would be requesting judgments for the child support and medical support owed. We typically do those judgments based on what's owed at the end of a month. So looking at October 31st, 2021, we would be requesting a child support judgment as of October 31st in the amount of $14,567.57 and a medical support judgment in the amount of $1,913.42. Do you believe that it is in your child's best interest that judgments be entered against Mr. Tyler for those amounts?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, I pass the witness.
I have no further questions of this witness, Your Honor. I would tender myself on attorney's fees.
All right, Mr. Griffin, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
I'm a licensed attorney, licensed practice in the state of Texas. I have been so licensed since November 11th, 1978. I have practiced continuously in Childress County, Texas since September 1, 1994. I am familiar with the normal customary charges of an attorney in a matter of this nature. I spent 2 hours drafting the petition, and I charge 2.5 hours drafting the petition. I charge at a rate of $300 an hour, which is a reasonable rate. There was a 3-hour temporary hearing, which was a contested hearing in quantum. I drafted the temporary orders, submitted them to the court. and that took another additional 2 hours. It's approximately an hour here today, Judge. The total of that would be $2,500. Each one of those items I would testify is reasonable and necessary in order to properly represent Ms. Bryant in this case, and that the court should award her judgment for attorney's fees in the amount of $2,500.
Questions?
Pass witness.
I pass the witness, Chair.
All right. All right. Well, based on the testimony and the evidence before me, then I'm granting Ms. Bryant's request for non-disclosure of her address and Ransom Hezekiah's identifying information and her identifying information as well. I'm granting the request for the final order to incorporate the terms of the temporary orders, except that Ms. Bryant would be ordered to provide a government health plan, and Ms. Bryant and Mr. Tyler would share equally any cost not associated or any cost not covered by that health plan. And so long, Ms. Bryant, as you have access to some other plan, that will work as well. If for some reason you are unable to provide, either through your ex-husband or through Medicaid, you contact the AG's office and let them know there's been a change in the health insurance situation. I'm granting the judgments for the arrearages to be paid at an additional $175 per month and additional $50 per month respectively for child support and medical support. I'm granting the request for attorney's fees in the amount of $2,500 to be assessed against Mr. Tyler and paid to Mr. Griffin. I find that it's in the best interest of the child and it was necessary to incur those fees. All right, is there any relief I have not addressed?
When do you want the arrears payments to begin, Judge?
Let's start January 1st of 2022.
Perfect. Thank you.
Is there any relief I have not addressed?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Ms. Kuntz?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. And who's going to prepare the order?
I will, Judge. If Whitney would send me that interim order, if you would, and then if you want to send the language on the arrears, you can. If not, I'll do it. And then I'll put it into the temporary order. I'll sign it and I'll send it to you for your signature.
Sure, sounds good. Thank
I
you.
won't do any of that. Alexis will, and she's very reliable. The judge knows I'm not. But she will circulate them. She'll get them done.
Got the best legal office ever.
Best I've ever, and I've been at it for 40-something
Ever.
years, ever. That's right.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for appearing today. I'm glad we were able to finally address all these matters and get it taken care of. Good luck, Ms. Bryant, to you and your family.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Judge. Are we excused?
You are, Mr. Griffin. Thank you, sir. Ms. Coons,
Thank you.